Hello friends, this is CA Vishal Jain. I have recently appeared for ACCA financial reporting paper and scored All India rank 2 and global rank 7. I am receiving multiple queries from all students across the world that how did I prepare for the paper. So I am making this video where I will discuss how exactly did I prepare, what was the strategies that I made, what was my experiences while I was preparing for the paper. Also, I will share here the analysis of the papers that I have done. So I have done an analysis of all the past papers and all the examiners report. All the examiners report and all the past papers I have made an analysis. I'll be sharing that analysis also with you. Okay. So let's start the discussion. So before starting the main concepts, so we will discuss the relevance of the paper, the relevance of the financial reporting paper. So you will get to know that the financial reporting paper, the base of this paper has been developed in F3, that is financial accounting paper, financial accounting paper. So this F3 paper forms the base of F7 financial reporting. And again, this financial reporting paper forms the base of a P level paper, that is strategic business reporting, strategic business reporting. Okay, so the knowledge of F3 gets carry forwarded in F7 and the knowledge of F7 gets carry forwarded in SBR paper. Okay, so this is one first relevance. Second relevance, without having the proper knowledge of F7, that is financial reporting, you will not understand the auditing and assurance paper. Why? Because see, audit is the independent examination of the financial statements. So if you're not aware of the knowledge of the financial statements, then how will you audit that? So you should have an understanding of financial reporting to understand audit and assurance. Parallelly, this SBR paper will help you understand advanced auditing and assurance, that is also again a P level paper. Okay, so the knowledge of SBR is required for advanced auditing and assurance. So without the proper knowledge of financial reporting, advanced auditing and assurance will be a difficult task. SBR will be a difficult task. If SBR is a difficult task, AAA will also be a difficult task. So now you can understand that F7 forms the core of ACCA qualification, forms the core of ACCA qualification. Okay. Now let's move to pass percentages. Pass percentage generally ranges from 45 to 50%. In December 2020, it was 48%. March 2021, it is 47%. June 2021, it is 51%. And September 2021, it is 48%. Okay, so you can see the range is from 45 to 50%. So if you are appearing for the exam, it is 50% probability that you will clear the exam. But see, you should neither target that you need to just pass the exam, nor you should target that I need to secure global rank 1. So both the extremities are not suggested. Why? Because see, if you will just target that I have to pass the exam, so you will definitely fail. If you will target that I have to secure a global rank 1, then you will take over pressure in your mind and you will underperform then. Okay, so just have an attitude that I have to give my best. Just have an attitude that I have to give my best. If you will give your best, then rest will automatically follow. Okay, now third is the approach. Study text. Many people in the market will say you that you should not refer the study text, just solve the questions or just refer to lectures and just solve the questions. That is more than sufficient. You should never do that. Never do that. Always go through the text. Always go through the text, whether or not you are taking class or not. Always go through the text, that is either BPP or Kaplan. Either BPP or Kaplan. Any is fine. Any is fine, but you should go for either of them, either BPP or Kaplan. I will suggest you Kaplan is a good, but you can go for BPP also. BPP is also equally good. Okay, go through study text, that is mandatory. But sir, you will ask me here one question that Vishal, uh, is it practically possible to revise the full study text right before the exam? No, it is not practically possible. Then how exactly we can do that? So what I did was I studied the study text, and while I was studying, I prepared concept capsules. I prepared concept capsules. And in these concept capsules, I made three things. First, the summary of the accounting standards, plus important questions, plus important adjustments plus important adjustments. So these were only the stuffs which were very much relevant from an exam point of view. I just focused from an exam point of view here. Okay. So while right before your exams, like you can say a week before your exams, you don't need to go through study text again. Rather, you have to go through the concept capsules. But at least once you have to go through the study text. At least once you have to go through the study text. Material, as I have already said, you can either go for BPP or you can go for Kaplan. Practice. What I have noticed is the many students practice in notebook, pen and notebook. Don't do that. Never do that. So if in exam you have to solve in a laptop or a desktop, then why are you solving now in pen and paper? No, never do that. So always practice in ACCA practice platform. ACCA practice platform. Always solve in ACCA practice platform. I will give you the link of the ACCA practice platform in the description box, given in description box. Okay, so first thing, avoid pen and paper. Avoid pen and paper. Then also avoid using Word file or Excel file. No, don't use Word file or Excel file. Use ACCA practice platform. If the environment in which you have to give the exams is freely available to you, then why not use that? Why are you using Excel file or an Word file? Never do use Excel file, Word file, pen or paper. Always use ACCA practice platform. There is a blank workspace allocated to you. There is a blank workspace allocated to you, and you should use only that platform to solve or practice your questions. Okay. Third thing, mock tests. Mock tests are very much required, very important. Okay, and a minimum of 3 mock tests. Minimum of 3 mock tests. Minimum of 3 mock tests. I'll tell you what I did in the BPP book. There are 3 mock tests which were given. I solved those. Plus in the ACCA practice platform, there was one FR specimen paper. I solved that as well. So this is more than enough. So I gave 4 mocks. You can give 3 mocks also, like BPP 2 mocks you can give, plus FR specimen paper which is suggested by the ACCA examining team. You should definitely do that. You should definitely do that. This here you can do 1 or 2 or 3 depending on the availability of the timings. Okay. Now and again the next question which I am getting multiple queries is interpretation. How to prepare for interpretation questions, that is interpretation of ratios or financial statements. See, you have already studied the ratio analysis in your F3 paper. Okay, but in that paper you only studied the calculation of the ratios. But here you will study not only the calculation of ratios, but the use of the ratios or the application of the ratios to analyze the financial statements, and the analysis can be in multiple forms that we will discuss in the later part of this video. Okay, that will discuss how the analysis will be asked in the exams, all the possible scenarios I have discussed. Okay, that I'll discuss. So interpretation, and I will also discuss how exactly you should prepare for the interpretation questions. Okay. Next is own figure rule. See, if you are just writing in the exam and using the ACCA practice platform, you're just writing that suppose you are calculating goodwill. And the amount of goodwill comes to rupees $800. If you're just writing 800, then the ACCA says you have to give the calculation of that. Suppose the purchase consideration is 20,000 minus the fair value of the net assets acquired is 19,200. So you should write that goodwill is equals to 800, and in the bracket you should give the workings. Why ACCA is saying so? See, if your answer is correct, if you are not giving the working, you will be allocated full marks. But what happens if this is wrong, if this is wrong, if this is wrong, so not only the marks for this will go, but also whatever, suppose you are preparing statement of financial position, you are preparing statement of financial position, if this is wrong, your statement of financial position will also be wrong, right? It will be wrong because SOFP includes the balance of goodwill. So the your ACCA examining team suggests if this is wrong, this will also be wrong. If this is wrong, this will also be the wrong, right? This will also be wrong. So ACCA says give workings when you are preparing SOFP, give detailed notes to accounts, give detailed notes to accounts. Or if you are so using goodwill to calculate any other figure, which has goodwill element in that, let's suppose I'll tell you I'll give you an example of this. Suppose you calculated the amount of unrealized profit. You calculated an amount of unrealized profit, and this figure is correct. And inventory, when you are calculating inventory in the financial statements, SOFP, statement of financial position, this figure is correct. And when you are solving this, so what you did, the amount, that is XXX, let's suppose the amount is something, minus unrealized profit, you will minus it, right? And then arrive at this figure. If this figure is correct, then automatically this will be correct and this will also be correct, right? But what if this is wrong? What if this is wrong? Your marks for this will not be allocated. Marks will not be allocated for this. But if you will give this working, if you will show that this was the gross amount of inventory minus this is the unrealized profit, and then I am arriving at this figure. So even if this is wrong and this is also wrong, you will be allocated full marks for this. You will be allocated full marks for this. But if you will not show this working, if you will not show this working, that how you arrived at this figure, then this will not be allocated, the marks for this will not be allocated. So basically what the examining team wants to suggest you is always show your calculations, your calculations will help you fetch marks, not directly but indirectly. You understood how? Suppose this is wrong, so definitely you will not be allocated marks for this. But due to this, if something else is getting wrong and you have shown the workings, so the examining team will think, okay, this guy knows the logic that this unrealized profit needs to be deducted from the gross inventory and then net inventory is arrived at. So this guy knows the logic and the examining team will allot you full marks for this. But if you will not show this working, the examining team will not understand that your logic is correct or not. So again, you will not be allocated marks for that. So always show your workings. Now coming to technical articles, it's a must read. Technical articles are a must read. Technical articles are a must read. You should definitely go through that. Now the next comes our examiner's report. I'll tell you honestly, 3 questions were directly asked to me from the examiner's report. So you can say 2 into 3, 6 marks directly from the examiner's report. You should definitely go through the examiner's report for minimum of last 4 attempts. I went through all the examiner's report. I went through all the past papers. I went through all the technical articles. I gave 4 mock tests. Okay, so this is what you have to take care of. Okay, now what I will discuss with you is the paper format and what was my analysis that I did for the paper, in all the sections of the paper. Okay, what was my analysis and what was the important questions that were identified either by me or by the examining team. So I will give you all the list of all the questions and the source of those questions. Okay, so you should definitely go and practice those questions. And I'm re-emphasizing it, you should not leave examiner's report. Plus past papers plus technical articles. Now question comes, where will we get this? Where will we find this? Let's discuss that. Let's see. See, this is the ACCA ACCA platform. You need to go www.accglobal.com. That's it. Uh, this is directly open. Okay, let's go to www.accglobal.com. Okay, now to students platform. After going to ACCA Global, go to students, go to study support resources. In the study support resources, click on ACCA qualification. In the ACCA qualification, pick your paper, that is financial reporting. In the financial reporting paper, you will find everything. See, syllabus, you will also find examinal documents in that will have everything, plus you will find technical articles, you will find past exam library, you will find ACCA practice platform that I was talking about. Okay, all these things are available here, all these things. Let's go to past exam library. If you will go to past exam library, you will find the questions for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last 9 attempts question given. Last 9 attempts questions given. Okay, that's more than sufficient to solve. That's more than sufficient to solve. Now let's discuss the paper format. See, the paper can come in the 3 sections: section A, section B, and section C. Section A, it will have 15 objective type questions. Each question will be of 2 marks. So it gives a total of 30 marks. Now section B, it will have 3 case studies, 3 case study. And each case study will have 5 questions. Each question will be of 2 marks. So basically, one case study will be of 10 marks. There will be 3 case studies. So again, it becomes 30 marks. What will be the type of these questions? These questions will also be objective type questions. First, understand the meaning of objective type questions. Many students misinterpret it for MCQ, that is multiple choice questions. No, my friend, it's not only multiple choice questions. It's multiple choice questions, plus it can be drop down questions, plus it can be one word answers, plus it can be true false. It can be anything, it can be anything. Okay, so these are the type of questions in objective type questions. So but what is the difference between section A and section B? In section A, the 15 objective type questions are independent of each other. That is, all the 15 questions are independent. None of the questions are interlinked to each other. None of the questions are interlinked. But in contrast to section A, in section B, you will find the questions in one case study that will have 5 questions. These 5 questions will be interlinked to each other. But again, the 3 case studies will be independent. The 3 case studies will be independent of each other. But in one case study, the 5 questions will be interlinked. Okay. So this is the difference between section A and section B. One more thing. So section A will be basic level, and section B will be little advanced level. Advanced as compared to section A. Advanced as compared to section A. Okay. Now coming to section C. In section C, it will have 2 questions: constructed response questions. Constructed response questions. Basically, it will be a subjective type questions where you have to solve the question, solve the entire question. Okay. Now, so it will, one question will be of 20 marks. So this comes to a 40 marks. Okay. So total of 100 marks paper. Total of 100 marks paper. No optional questions. No optional questions. Okay. Now, from where these questions can be asked? Section A and section B can be asked anywhere from the syllabus. Anywhere from the syllabus. That is, it can be asked from the accounting standards, it can be asked from the conceptual framework, or it can be asked from the final accounts or consolidation, that is the group company accounts, or it can be asked from cash flow, or it can be asked from interpretation, that is ratio analysis. Okay, so it can be asked from entire syllabus. It can be asked from entire syllabus. Now, section C, that is the constructed response questions. constructed response questions. Now, so in this, a question of final accounts can come, question of consolidation, that is a group company accounts can come, or question of interpretation, that is analysis of financial statements can come, or cash flow statement can come. Okay, generally what I have noticed, the question will be in this format, either one of these and this. That means either you will get final accounts or consolidation and interpretation question. Basically this is mandatory that it will be asked 20 marks, shorts or 20 marks, it will be asked, and out of these any one, that is or. Okay, now what about cash flow statement? So this has become outdated now. So does that mean it will never be asked? No, it does not mean that. Generally the examining team doesn't ask this, but it can so happen it can ask in any of these questions. So you should not leave these questions, you should practice, but yes, give less importance to this chapter. Okay, but you should be clear on your understanding perspectives. Why I am telling we should be clear on our understanding is, though the examining team doesn't give a full-fledged question on cash flow, but what the examining team does, you will see in the later parts of this video, the examining teams ask to prepare an extract of cash flow statement. That is, either they will ask you to prepare the cash flow generated from or used in investing activities or from financing activities as part of your final accounts. They can come. So in the September 2021 session in which I appeared, the cash flow statement was there as part of final accounts. Okay, so you should not leave these questions, okay. Now going to the detailed look into section C, detailed look, final accounts. See, these final accounts you have already studied in your finance F3 paper, that is financial accounting paper, you have already studied there. But what is different in F7 paper? Is it the same? No, it's not the same. Is it very advanced? Yeah, it is very advanced. What makes it different? See, when you're preparing for F3 financial accounting paper, so there the question, the format used to be trial balance plus adjustments. And what was the nature of the adjustments? Either it used to be the valuation of inventory, that is the cost, or the NRV, whichever is lower, or it can be the outstanding expenses or the prepaid expenses or the adjustment for bad debts or provision for bad debts or depreciation calculation, or it can be deferred revenue, right? All those were the adjustments. But here the level of adjustments will be very high. So the adjustments will be directly from the accounting standards. And trust me, my friend, this will require plenty of practice. When I say plenty of practice, I mean to say practice in ACCA practice platform. ACCA practice platform. Okay, now you should have a thorough knowledge of all the accounting standards, to opt for the final accounts question. Okay, so generally these are the standards which gets tested in the final accounts. It can be the case the other standards can also be tested. Okay, but generally these are the adjustments. Non-current assets, either revaluation of the non-current assets or depreciation or impairment. If it comes to revenue, the revenue recognition over time or a point in time. When it comes to leases, recognition of right of use asset or recognition of a lease liability. When it comes to financial instrument, identification whether it is an equity or it is a financial liability or it's a compound financial instrument, and the accounting therefore. Now again, recognition of the provisions, whether it is a contingent provision, contingent liability, or a provision or a liability. Okay, now taxes, that is the provision for taxes for the current year or the carry for the provision from the previous year. So all those adjustments, and the deferred taxes, EPS, calculation of earning per share, and the issue of shares, including the issue of right shares. So these are the adjustments that generally gets tested. Okay, now What will the question format when the final accounts will come in your exam? Let's discuss that. See, the question can come in two forms. First, the question will give you trial balance, plus the question will give you adjustments. Okay. Requirement type number A. The question will ask you to prepare a statement of financial position, a statement of comprehensive income, a statement of changes in equity, plus the statements of extract of statement of cash flow. So in this, any permutation or combination is applicable. Either the question can only ask you statement of financial position, or the question can ask you statement of financial position and statement of changes in equity and extracts of cash flow. That was the case in September 2021 examinations for me. Now, the question can also ask you to prepare a statement of comprehensive income and a statement of financial position. It can be any case. Now, type number B. The question will ask you to prepare a statement of adjusted profits. Prepare a statement of adjusted profits. Now, what is this statement of adjusted profits? So, in the trial balance, the question will give you the draft profit. The question will give you draft profit. So rather than giving the details of all the nominal accounts, the question will directly give you the draft profit. Okay, and the question will give you adjustments. Now the question will ask you to from using this figure and making adjustments for all the adjustments given in the question, you have to arrive at a number of final profit. And you have to use this profit to prepare a statement of financial position. So this is how also the question can come in the exam. Okay, so this is type number B. So examining team suggests you these questions for type A and type B. For type A, the examining team suggests you Vernon, that is March-June 2019 question, and for Dugan, that is September-December 2018 question. For type B, that is statement of adjusted profits, the examining team suggests you to solve Haberford question, that is from March-June 2018. And this is, trust me, this is a very wonderful question, very important question. It's a wonderful question that has been given in the material. Okay. Plus, I will recommend you the questions which are suggested by the examining team. You have to solve it right after this video. Plus, you have to solve this also a day before the examinations. You have to solve it a day before the examination. Okay. Now comes the second type, that is consolidation. What is consolidation? So in the consolidation, a company acquires another company. How exactly? Let's suppose a company acquires company B. Now, what will happen? Suppose the company B is worth $80. The company B is worth $80, but company A is paying to company B $100. Now the 20 rupees, $20 that is paid extra is nothing but goodwill. So there will be lot of adjustments that you will be discussing in the consolidation chapter, that is the group company accounts. So you will be studying about subsidiary. You will also be discussing about associate. Plus you will also discuss about the meaning of the term control. The question format, how will the question can come? First, type A, that is the question will ask you to prepare consolidated statement of comprehensive income. In this, the statement of comprehensive income for parent company will be given. The statement of comprehensive income for the subsidiary company will be given. So now, it will say the subsidiary company is acquired either at the start of the year or at the mid of the year. Okay, so you should be mindful of the time adjustments. Okay, and how you need to prepare a consolidated statement of comprehensive income. I'm not discussing how exactly we need to prepare all these things. If you guys require, you can drop in the comment box, that then I'll make a video on for the consolidation also, because this group company accounts is a very important concept, is a very important chapter in your syllabus. Okay, so if you guys require, please comment in the comment box that you require a video on this or not. If you will demand, then I will make a revision video and I'll go through all the concepts of the consolidation, explaining everything. Okay. Now the question can also ask you to prepare consolidated statement of financial position. This is type number B. Now type number C, consolidated statement of financial position, plus it can also ask you to prepare extracts of statement of comprehensive income. Here it will not ask you to prepare the full statement of comprehensive income, but rather it will ask you to prepare the extract, like tell me the amount of consolidated revenue, tell me the amount of consolidated cost of goods sold. So it can ask you this manner. And very important, that is it's a favorite of the examining team to ask you what is the profit, that is attributable, to NCI, that is non-controlling interest, profit that is attributable to non-controlling interest. This is the favorite topic of the examining team. So the question they will ask you either through this or in your section A or in your section B, but they will definitely ask you this question. Okay, and fourth is the carrying amount of investment in associate. So this will not be a separate question, but rather this can come along with A or B or C. It can come along with any of these. Okay, it can come along with any of these. Now let's discuss what are the type of questions, which the examining team recommends, for type A, that is statement of comprehensive income, consolidated statement of comprehensive income. The examining team suggests BICOM, that is June 2015. For type B, that is statement of financial position, the examining team suggests you to solve Dargent, that is March-June 2017, Party Company, that is September-December 2017, and the Runner Company, that is September-December 2019. Okay, and trust me, this Party Company is a very, very, very important question. Okay, now for type C, that is consolidated statement of financial position plus extracts of statement of comprehensive income. So the question is Laurel. This is not recommended by the examining team, but recommended by me, because this is very important question. Laurel, very good question. Okay, now coming to the third topic, that is the interpretation. Before going to discuss the type of questions that can come, I will discuss the approach of study of interpretation questions, how you need to study the approach. I will tell you what exactly happened to me. When I started initially with the interpretation, I felt like this is the toughest chapter, because I am able to understand the question, I am able to calculate the ratios, but when I am trying to do the analysis of the financial statements, I am not able to do the analysis. I am not able to write my answers. So my points were there, but I am not able to structure the answer. So what exactly I did then? See, what students do, they just do the rote learning. Why the gross profit is increasing, they will read in the Kaplan material, though this is the reason, and they will replicate that in the exams. Never do that. Initially, even I started with that. That is acceptable, fine, but in the exams that is not acceptable. So how you need to upgrade from that level to what is required in the examinations? See, what you have to do, I will be sharing my story, that you can follow that, or if you have another experiences, you can share that also, and you can follow that also. Okay, what I'll tell you what I did. So I read the question. For the initial 10 questions, for the first 10 questions, what I did, I used to study the question thoroughly. Then I used to read the answer thoroughly. So what I'll tell you what exactly I did. First, I used to, suppose this is day 1, I used to read the question plus read the answer. On day 2, the question and the answer which I read here, what I'll do on the day 2, I will read that question again. But I will not read the answer now. I will start to practice on my own. But plus again, I will read a new question. Plus read a new answer for this question itself. Read answer of this question. Read a question. So again on the day 3, I will be solving this question, plus I will be reading and the question and answer of a new question. So this I followed for 10 questions. This I followed for 10 questions. Trust me, by the time I was solving 10th question, my level was very high. My level was very high. My level was very high. But I was not that confident then also. Why? Because I used to feel I am reading the answer and then I am writing. I am not adding any value. I am just recalling things and then writing. So yes, I was just recalling and writing. But what happened in this process was I got to know how to structure the answer. I got to know how to structure the answer. Then what I did, just to gain the confidence, I changed my strategy now. I changed my strategy now. So now what I did, let's suppose on day 11, I read the question. Now, rather than reading the answer of this question, I started practicing on my own. Practice on my own. So what I changed is I will read the question and I will start writing the answer. Rather than reading the answer, I will start writing my answer, and then at that time itself I used to compare with the suggested answers. Compare with suggested answer. And then again I followed this for 10 questions. I followed this for 10 questions. Trust me. This method, this method taught me how to structure your answer. This method taught me how to find the points which you need to include in your answers. After this process, I was very much confident on my interpretation answers. I was very much confident on my interpretation answers. And by the time I finished this, I was a type of student which used to feel that initially when I started this, I was a student which used to feel I am confident on 80 marks, but 20 marks I am not confident. 20 marks I am not confident. That is interpretation questions I am not confident. After this, on the 20th day, I was a type of student I am confident on 20 marks, but I am not that confident on 80 marks, because I can score 20. Out of 20 I can definitely score 18. I was that confident. I was that confident. But and out of 80, I don't know, because there can be silly mistakes. There can be silly mistakes in these questions. I was not sure of. I can make silly mistakes, but in this question the best part is I cannot make any silly mistakes. I cannot make any silly mistakes because there are no calculations involved in these questions. Okay, even if there are very small calculations. Okay, so that's the thing about interpretation questions. That's the approach you should follow. Okay, now coming to the type of questions that are given or has been tested in the past. So for this, there are 5 type of questions. Okay, let's discuss what are the type of questions. Compare a company year on year. So let's suppose there is a company called Google Incorporation. So the financial statements for the previous year is given and the financial statements of the current year is given, and basis this you will be asked to compare that how the company has performed as compared to previous year. So what you have to do, you have to calculate the ratios for the previous year, you have to calculate the ratios for the current year, and then you have to answer it. Okay, so in the type B, compare a company with the industry or sector averages. So what you have to do here is, in the question will give you the financial statements of the company plus ratios of the industry in which the company is involved, let's suppose the FS of the company is given is the British Airways. So the ratio of the industry, that is the aviation industry, the question will give you the ratios of the aviation industry, that is how the industry as a whole is performing, and then you have to compare the ratios of this company with the ratio of the industry, and you have to assess whether this company is outperforming the industry or underperforming the industry. Okay, now type C, financial statements of two companies will be given and you will be asked to assess which company is a better acquisition. Which company will be a better acquisition? So like there will two companies and you will be asked, though if I want to acquire one company, which is the company I will acquire? Which is the company I'll acquire? Okay. Now type D, a company has acquired. So now here, see, in type C, it is saying you to assess which company I will acquire. In type C, it is telling which company I should acquire. Question is asking you to give you an assessment. Now in type D, is saying that I have already acquired a company. I have already acquired a company. Tell me, is it a good decision or not? Tell me, it is a good decision or not? Okay, so but you should be mindful that in the previous year the company was a single company, but in the current year the company becomes a group company because it will have its financial statements plus the subsidiaries financial statements, and plus this becomes the group. This becomes the group. Now type E, the group has sold of an entity. The group has sold of an entity, and again the question will ask you, so I have already sold an entity, tell me, was that a good decision or not? Was that a good decision or not? Okay, so in all these questions, what I have done, all these type of questions, the examining team has suggested all these questions, and I have bifurcated these questions into these types. For type A, that is company comparison of a company year on year, MOER, that is September December 2017. For type of question, compare a company with industry or sector averages, one company, that is September December 2019 question. Which company to acquire, that is type C. For that, the examining team suggests you Funject, that is March June 2017. For type D, that I have already acquired a company, tell me, was it a good decision or not? So for that, Duke company and Grigori company, that is September December 2018 and September 2016 question. For type E, that is group has sold of an entity, you have to compare and say that this decision was a good decision or not. You have to say the Perkins company March June 2018 and the Perlo company, that is March June 2019. March June 2019. So these are the questions recommended by your examining team, and it's very important. So this specifically, this Grigori company is very important, very important. Okay, so these are the questions. So I have to, these are the questions which are suggested by the examining team, and three questions which I have highlighted as important are Haverford, Laurel and Grigori. These three questions are, trust me, they are very important, very important. Okay, now coming to cash flow statement, as I've already told, this has become outdated, out of fashion now. Generally, the examining team will not ask you a full-fledged question on cash flow, but it's not the case that they will not ask. They will ask, they can ask. Okay, but even if they don't ask a full-fledged question, they will ask you to prepare an extract through in the final accounts question, in the final account question. Okay, now few specific points that I want to tell you is, when solving an interpretation question, you should always do what if analysis. What if analysis? Let's suppose you are telling that the revenue has increased due to this reason. Okay, then you should say that if this reason didn't exist, then what should be the scenario? Then what should be the scenario? Or if you're telling that the ratio has been this much, the revenue has not increased, but you can see there are other parameters also, then you should include those parameters and say, if these parameters can be included, my revenue would have been this much, but this is not this much, and the increase is not, so my revenue would have been this much, but this is this much now, and this decrease is due to this reason. Okay, so you should include what if analysis. What if analysis? What if analysis? First point. Second point, when analyzing the financial performance of a company, always start with revenue. Always start with revenue. Never start with gross profit. If the revenue data is not given, then you can start with gross profit. But if it is given for revenue, always start with revenue, then go to gross profit, then go to operating profit, then go to net profit, then go to return on capital employed. Okay, so this is how you should proceed. Third thing, always give a conclusion. Always give a conclusion, and this conclusion should not be closed conclusion. It should be open ended. It should be open ended. What is the meaning of closed and open ended? You should not say outrightly that this company is good and this company is bad. No, you should not say that. So you should say that this company seems good, but and this company, if this and this can be improved, this company is also good, and now it depends on the management how it wants to assess that conclusion. You should give a conclusion mandatory. If you don't give a conclusion, you're out. Effectively 3 marks gone. Directly 3 marks will be gone. Okay, you should definitely give conclusion. Okay, conclusion is mandatory. And always give open-ended conclusion, never give closed-ended. You should not direct outrightly say that this company is good and this company is bad, or that, or don't outrightly say that the company has underperformed as compared to sector, the company has underperformed as compared to previous year. Don't outrightly say anything. Just be diplomatic in your conclusion. Say that this is good, this is this and this were good in the company, but if the company improves this and this, the company will be a bit in a better position. So you should be a diplomatic answer. The answer should be a diplomatic. Okay, so these were the things, and again emphasizing on practice on ACCA practice platform. Again emphasizing on ACCA practice platform. 3 mock tests at a minimum. Technical article is mandatory. Study text is mandatory. And then examiner's report is mandatory. All these are mandatory. I think I was able to answer all your queries, but still if you have any queries, you can definitely reach out to me. We will discuss and we will sort it out. Thank you. Bye bye.